Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. Today, I have an absolute treat for you, as we have a litigious Karen who loves to sue everyone. Now this is part one of two parts, where she is suing a contractor because she didn't like the results of her kitchen remodel, with the second video being even wilder than this one, and this one gets pretty crazy.
Okay, I will continue on then. Based on that information,
Oh, she's having a meltdown. Oh,
Mr. Quadron, let's not comment on that. There maybe are issues that we're unaware of.
Now that short clip exemplifies her behavior over the next hour, so get your popcorn ready and let's begin.
All right, we're here in 24S000235. We have the plaintiff Jeni Quiriconi present. We have the defendant Justin Quadron present. Sir, are you do you own Affordable Land Care LLC?
yes, ma'am.
All right, he is the owner of the other named defendant, Affordable Land Care LLC. So I see that there has been an amended claim filed in this matter. Let me go ahead and make sure that all the parties are aware of this new amended value. Have you received that, sir, the amended claim?
I haven't received any paperwork. No.
Well, how do you know to be here today, sir?
Well, I received paperwork previously, like months ago, or weeks ago. I'm sorry, I'm busy, so I lose track of time. But I haven't received paperwork for this court date today. I called you guys at the district court and followed up I looked up the dates and I was just following the trail, but I haven't been served proper paperwork yet. No.
Well, I have right here, and I just want to make sure that everything is correct. I have right here that a proof of service. It says here that you were personally served on February 2nd, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. and that you were
And
served.
that was on a Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not
Yep,
quite sure.
that's the one I was served, but there were no court dates on that paperwork. It didn't say, "Hey, you're at this date," and it didn't say what. There was no exhibits. There was nothing attached to that. I didn't know what I was being sued for other than what was on that paper.
1 second. Ms. Quiriconi, did you file proof of service on the amended claim?
I attempted to, Your Honor. And in fact, yesterday I delivered to the court proof that I engaged Emerald Legal Service down in Eugene, and they attempted many times to serve Mr. Guadron, and that he refused to open his door on many occasions. There is something that they call a proof of due diligence as well, along with the other document.
So what you're saying is, you haven't properly served him. And with the amount of times that you've sued the people around you, you know that without proof of service filed with the court, this case can't move forward.
All right, so service can only be by mail, by personal service, or by substitute service. So if they have been attempting to do it, then you would need to just serve him by certified mail, because at this point, we don't actually have proof of service of the amended claim. I will agree, I do accept. All right, but that hasn't been filed, ma'am. I don't have a proof of service on my end. I see that you have that form, but I have a defendant here saying that he didn't receive the amended claim.
He did not receive the amended claim, Your Honor, because he has refused to open the door to the personal service representatives trying to serve the amended claims notice.
And I hear you, ma'am, but unfortunately, he does need to get that serviced. So you can do that by certified mail, and that would be sufficient. He doesn't need to be served by an individual then.
When I have done that before, he refused it. He refused it to pick it up for over 30 days. That's why I used a service to inform him of the February 2nd one.
Well, you know, it can be left in a mailbox too.
I will attempt again, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. So, sir, you are here. You followed the trail of dates. You are now aware that you are going to be served an amended claim.
What address is she mailing them to? Because I have moved. I'm a single dad and I had to relocate to be near my kid. So
Sure,
she
Ms.
might be mailing
Quiriconi,
them to the wrong address.
what's the address that you're trying to serve, please? Ms. Quir-
It should be on the paperwork from the service, Your Honor. I do not have that paperwork right in front of me.
I don't have a proof of service for the amended claim. For the small claim, it is,
Yes, you do not have proof of service for the amended claim because the defendant has refused to open the door to Emerald Legal Service of
ma'am,
Eugene.
I understood.
Okay,
And I
okay.
understand.
And I understand he can also refuse to pick up the registered mail, certified mail. I will attempt to do that again, Your Honor, at his Eugene address.
That is not what I'm asking, ma'am. I'm trying to find the address to tell him. And I said, I don't have one for the new
All
proof of
right,
service. I will look at the old proof of service. And I'm asking you, is that the same address you are trying to serve?
No, Your Honor. That address is open.
Eugene, Oregon.
Eugene,
971.
Oregon.
Is that your address, sir?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, you're now put on notice that you are trying to be served this amended claim. At this point, there's really no reason for you not to accept service of it because we do have proof of service on the small claim. I don't think there's any difference. So the original claim is asking for $6,000 in reimbursement, and the amended claim is asking for also $6,000. So not an additional, but the same amount.
Okay.
So
what does it say? What are the accusations?
well,
What
I
is
need you to accept that. It says right here, cost of permit and inspection costs to remediate items, failing inspection, post to complete work left undone, including labor and materials, cost of cleanup. So,
Well,
sir,
can we avoid time and just enter court now? So we
no,
can just, or
I
do I
don't
have
have
to wait
time. I
for
have
her?
a trial in 5 minutes. So
Okay,
today's
so I still have
purely
to wait for her to serve me?
yeah, so she needs
Okay.
to serve you, but we can set up a trial date right now. I just want you to know there's no point in avoiding it because she's already served you on the other one, which I could have trial on
Yeah,
the other claim.
I'm not avoiding anything. I'm a
Okay.
business owner and I'm working and
Okay,
I apologize about the inconvenience, but I don't even stay here half the time. I'm between two states.
okay,
So they're just not catching me when I'm home.
okay, all right, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. It's not like
Yep.
it's a bigger amount. It's just I think she amended the description of
I
why.
also want to argue that the amount that she's asking for is higher than what a legal ability to sue for an LLC in the state of Washington. Based off my research, the highest amount is 5,000.
That's only if
But
she's an LLC. You can sue
got
a
it.
business up to $10,000, but if you were to sue her, you could only ask her for 5,000.
So she's not the only person in this hearing who thinks that they know everything. And there are going to be a few people out there, especially the plumbers, who are going to have some issues with what this guy did and says. But for now, let's head on to the next hearing.
All right, good afternoon to both parties. If you could please unmute. Mr. Guadron, if you could please unmute, take off your hat and just drop the. Mr. Guadron, what is your background, sir?
It's a picture of the kitchen that we did some work on, and since this court case we had with you, I found out that it's being broadcast on YouTube and over 37,000 people are watching us. So I figured I'd put that up there so we can.
All right, sir. I did see an exhibit you submitted, and I'm aware that this is now likely being streamed on YouTube. If you could please take down your background, I don't appreciate me being broadcast in the background in a picture like that. Thank you, sir.
Let me see if I can figure out how to do it while we're working here.
I'll wait until you can figure it out, sir.
Does that work?
That's great. Thank you, sir. All right, so we're here in case 24S235. We have the plaintiff, Jeni Quiriconi, present. We have the defendant, Justin Guadron. Are you the owner of Affordable Land Care, sir?
Yes.
Okay, the owner of Affordable Land Care. So it looks like an amended claim was filed, but as of today, sir, $6,000 is being requested by Ms. Quiriconi against you. Are you aware of that value?
Yes.
All right, sir. So, sir, you keep popping in and out. I don't know if you could just stay in the camera, please.
I'm sorry. I'm at work.
All right. Well, this is a trial. So
Yep.
I apologize that you're at work. You're just going to have to take some time off to handle this matter. All right, sir. So going forward, this is a trial. Ms. Quiriconi is going to go first. She is the plaintiff in this matter. I'm going to let her go first, present the evidence that she has for the $6,000 value she is seeking against you. If she has any witnesses to call, she can call them forward, and then we will listen to her side of the story. When she's done, I'll let you tell your side of the story, sir. I ask that both parties do not address the other, that they only address me. If there are any questions, just to me, let's try to keep this amicable. I don't want this to be a contentious situation now that you have brought to light that most people on YouTube like to watch Ms. Quiriconi's matters. So let's just keep this very amicable, please. When you're done, I'll go ahead and offer my judgment in this matter. Are there any questions in regards to any of this going forward?
Yes, Your Honor, I have questions.
What's your question, Ms. Quiriconi?
Your Honor, what makes you think, as you stated, that people are watching because of my matters and not because it is your court?
That's true. It might be my court.
Your
Any
Honor,
other questions?
are you aware that because that your court has been monetized on YouTube, that I have been subject to harassment by
It's not monetized. How is there any monetary financial gain from this?
the people who stream your court on their YouTube channels have paid subscribers?
What does that have to do with me, Ms. Quiriconi?
I am just stating facts regarding your channel being monetized.
It's not a channel. I'm a government employee sitting in a courtroom. This is not a YouTube channel. This is a Zoom trial.
This is true, Your Honor. And people on YouTube are monetizing your court by paid subscriptions to their channel.
She'd be talking about channels like mine and Lone Wolf Usel, who also covered this video, who have monetized these idiots, sovereign citizens, and Karens in court to maybe help some of you who are watching these videos to not make the same mistakes that these dipshits make. Now, is there anything else you'd like to complain about, Karen?
And I object to Mr. Guadron continuing to have the picture of my kitchen in his background.
All right. Mr. Guadron, please take it down and make just a neutral background. That is an exhibit that has been submitted, and I will go ahead and review it at another time.
Can you see? I just want this exhibit that's in my background
Mhm.
is pertaining to the case. Wasn't able to give it to you in the photos. I wanted
Okay,
you
well
to
then please
see
take
this
it down. Please take it down.
because it goes against one of her allegations.
All right, so you're going to have to just testify against to that verbally at that point. Please take it down. Thank you, sir. Anything else, Ms. Quiriconi? Because we need to begin.
I understand.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and begin. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth during this proceeding?
I do, Your Honor.
Please state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
Jeni Quiriconi, Quiriconi.
Thank you. Please begin with your testimony.
Your Honor, last year, I contracted with Justin Guadron and Affordable Land Care to have my very small 9 by 10 kitchen remodeled. I paid my invoices, and within the exhibits, you will find representations of my checks that he accepted in full payment of the first 2 invoices generated by him. There are no details of how much labor might be required in hours. And in fact, I did not ask him at any point for documentation on hours. And that is one of the questions that I have for Mr. Guadron, is if he can supply documentation for the number of hours and the days that he worked.
Quiriconi, I apologize. Mr. Guadron, this is a trial. Please take off your hat. Please do not drink beverages, and please do not eat any food. This is a serious matter, sir. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Quiriconi, please continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Because of the nature of the work, plumbing was required. I have since found out that while Mr. Guadron is a plumbing contractor and a general contractor, he is not a plumber. And from the very beginning, he put himself forward as a plumber. A plumber must have that qualification through Labor and Industries. Mr. Guadron is a plumber trainee, and as a plumber trainee, he is required to have supervision on site for his work. To my knowledge, he never had supervision on site. Within the paperwork is who is supposed to be supervising him. I was unfamiliar with that name until I started looking into his background.
You're kidding, right? You didn't think to check on the plumber before hiring him to remodel your home to ensure that he had a license first? That kind of sounds like a you problem, one that could have been solved with due diligence on your end.
He also refers to, in one of his own text messages from the very beginning, that he and his partner are coming by. Now, there is some paperwork that says he has a partner named Patrick, but there is no last name, and I never met anyone named Patrick. I never heard their name, nor did I ever hear the name of the person who was supposed to supervise him. I was not on site the entire time that the plumbing work was being done. However, when I was here and plumbing work was being done, there was absolutely no supervision whatsoever. Mr. Guadron claims that there were, according to his document, unexpected circumstances. But his document also says that his labor is warranted for 1 year. That year is not yet up, Your Honor. I have had an estimate done of what it will take to remediate the items in my kitchen that are substandard, do not pass inspection, and I have requested be fixed by Mr. Guadron. He has refused communication. He has done shoddy repair work. Behind me are 2 full tiles of flooring that were available to properly repair the floor. Instead, he put in a little plug in the flooring that has a hole all the way around it, and in the center, they go straight through the subfloor and into the insulation. In the picture showing that, there are numbers 1 and 2. 1 shows the pipes passing from under the cabinet and into the floor. Plumbing regulations require that something like this item, I believe it's called an escutcheon, this one was made in 1914, go around those pipes and secure them to the floor. This prevents my plumbing from passing inspection. an inspection for which a permit was never obtained. If Mr. Guadron is a plumber and a plumbing contractor, he ought to have gotten the proper permit to do the plumbing work. He did not acquire that permit. I do not know if he got permits for remodeling. I have not checked. I never saw one. The only permit I ever saw was for electrical, and I paid for that. If you notice in the picture where the floor has been repaired, you will also see at the back of the wall, there are no baseboards. This means should any pipe burst, should there be any kind of leak whatsoever, that water is going to go down there at the base of the floor, ruining not only the sheetrock behind it, but possibly the underlying subfloor, the insulation, and even the foundation. It can contribute to rot and mold. In addition, insects can come up through there. Food items can get trapped in there, so it creates a very unsanitary condition. This ought to have been fixed. My requests have basically been ignored.
Just look at your behavior. You'd think that might have something to do with a contractor ignoring your complaints? And I know you watch these videos on YouTube, so let me give you some personal advice. In life, you'll catch a lot more flies when you offer honey instead of battery acid.
In Mr. Guadron's paperwork, where page 1 refers to a partner, I don't know what partner he's referring to, whether it's Patrick or whether it's the one and only person I ever saw here on site, Zach. I never knew Zach's name. I don't know how many employees there are. He wanted me to use my truck for hauling things. They left all the stuff behind. I took care of it myself. On one of these pages, the date is hard to tell, but on April 17th, that was when the electrical was done and when the inspection. The next page, the conversation about the shed and the garage, and he's been busy helping a friend move. Or I don't know when that conversation was. It's not identified with any kind of date, or nor is the next one about when he's going to be home, when I'm going to be home in a few minutes. He's apparently not ready to, he's not in a hurry. He's concerned about my squatter that I had. In the end of August, he lets me know when his employee, who he misspells the name, I don't know whether it's Z-A-C-K or Z-A-K. I let him know when I was in the hospital. I let him know that there was a hole under my kitchen sink, under my kitchen, in my kitchen, under the cabinets that needed to be repaired. I had the tiles then. The labor costs are so expensive. Never, ever, ever do I get to see what the labor charge is. I have talked with a couple of plumbers since, and I know that a trainee generally makes much less than a journeyman plumber. I was basically charged $4,000 for very little work. I don't know if it even took him 10 hours, which would be $400 an hour, which is far above what a journeyman plumber would cost. Then he introduces some totally unrelated to this case information.
All right, Ms. Quiriconi, you seem to be spending a lot of time going through his exhibits, which is fine, but
Okay.
I think that what you miss is where are you getting $6,000 from?
I believe I have a document that I supplied to you for the $6,000. It would be, including the $35 fee for court, $46.80 for the permit for plumbing, $9.68 for the first notice by certified mail, $160 to Emerald City Legal for skip tracing and the attempt to file, $10.10 for the second notice by mail, $80 for attempts to serve, $362.68 to get all of my doors rekeyed because employees Zach and owner Mr. Guadron never returned my key that they were in possession of. I didn't feel safe. I better get my house rekeyed. Then there is the $4,983.08 estimate for remediation. I could only find one firm that was willing to take on this job, Your Honor, which is why there is not a second estimate.
Ms. Quiriconi, this piece of paper where you typed up yourself, this is an estimate from a licensed company?
Yes, and that is there.
Why didn't you send me the actual email from the licensed company as opposed to you just typing it up yourself?
Oh, it should be in your documents, Your Honor, from Heritage.
Okay, let me look for Heritage.
Your Honor.
One second.
Can I-
Let me just try to find this Heritage. Ms. Quiriconi, please hold up the Heritage document.
It's 2 pages.
Sure.
Here, oh, maybe it's 3. And they actually show their labor cost per hour. Unlike Mr. Guadron, who never showed me a thing.
All right, ma'am. I don't see anything from Heritage. Oh, here it is. Okay. Let me go ahead. So it's 2 pages.
One of them has a back on it, I believe.
All right. So I think that a big statement of yours is that none of this would pass inspection as to why you're looking for another construction company to come in and remediate what you think would not pass inspection. Could you please turn my attention to where the inspection report is, that none of this would pass inspection?
They will not provide that, Your Honor.
So you're saying that
I
they
can tell you
inspected your house and they wouldn't provide an inspection report?
that is correct. They will give me a pass report, but they did not supply a do not pass.
That's bullshit. I've had to get permits before, and if you fail an inspection, they will almost certainly give you a written fail report so that you can fix what's wrong and reapply. Now she's about to give us the real reason why she didn't get this report.
I can give you the name of the inspector. I can give
No,
you the
thank you.
date he was here. I can give you the names of everyone I spoke to at the city who assisted me in this, who gave me the name and number of L&I so that I could report him, which
Ma'am, I'm not asking about that. Show me the piece of paper where it's your pass, not pass report.
they will not provide one, Your Honor.
They wouldn't provide you a piece of paper that says you do not pass inspection?
Correct, Your Honor.
I find that interesting.
I do not make the bureaucracy, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so based on this report, allegedly that exists, that says that you would not pass, that you are unable to receive a copy of, but which you state says that you would not pass, you looked into Heritage to remediate the issues.
I looked into the city and I looked into L&I, and they both confirmed that without the things on my pipe, I do not pass inspection.
So you're telling me that if you call them, they'll tell you why you didn't pass, but they won't give you a piece of paper stating why you won't pass?
I couldn't get one out of them, Your Honor. I don't know how to.
Okay.
Excuse me, just a moment. Let me take a breath.
Okay.
Your Honor, I am a neurodivergent person. with complex PTSD and a huge
Understand that, ma'am.
disorder. When I was in there, it was very difficult for me to deal with what I was dealing with. And perhaps I neglected to ask for that.
Oh, so you didn't get the report because you were too focused on being a petulant see you next Tuesday to remember to ask for your failed report in writing. Now that makes a lot more sense.
If I have time and they are open today, I will have that to your court before close of business. If
Sorry,
I
ma'am, I'm going to be imparting judgment before then. I do see what you've provided here from Heritage. I think that the issue is without a report showing what wouldn't have passed, it's just hard for me to look at this Heritage construction report and be able to differentiate between what needs to be fixed to pass inspection versus what you maybe didn't like and just want fixed based on aesthetic preferences. That's what makes this a little bit difficult to parse through.
would you like me to quickly look up the plumbing code for your honor so that you might see
No.
that?
No, thank you. I don't really want you to quickly look up the plumbing code. All right, so I see that Heritage Construction. But here's the issue. If it's these little things from 1940 that need to be going around the pipes, why do you have all these grand total areas for reconstruction, your SF walls, your SF ceiling, SF walls and ceiling, floor perimeter? Why is everything being changed instead of little baby plugs being put on the pipes that don't meet inspection?
R&R baseboard is remediation. There are no baseboards. It needs to be fixed. Mr. Guadron did not do things correctly and the way they were expected to be done.
Okay, so then do baseboards go on the ceiling and do they go on the exterior wall area?
I'm sorry. Can you give me a number or something that you are referring to somewhere?
Sure. On page 2, the Heritage Construction, you're saying that the baseboards needed to be replaced because, in your opinion, they would not pass inspection. Inspection. I'm getting tongue-tied. I apologize. But I see here your estimate has to do with walls and ceiling and exterior wall area. So, I mean, I just thought baseboards went on the floor, not on walls and ceiling and exterior wall area.
My cabinetry, my lower cabinetry is affixed to an outer wall. Okay. I think that's what is being referred to, Your Honor. Okay. Thank you. Now, they included a backsplash, but I did not ask about that. And they are just, they are describing the butcher block countertop that is currently there. I can move the refrigerator. They don't need to do it. I can roll it out of the way. There are 2 floor tiles that do need to be replaced. They want to seal around the baseboards they put in. It could all be done in a day. And if Mr. Guadron wanted to come back and do this to save himself the money, that would be fine. If he wanted to cover the costs of everything that I have had to do to get him into court today, that is fine. If he doesn't want to do that, L&I gave me the instructions to go against his $6,000 bond, and I can do that. I want him to just make it right. He's supposed to be a good Christian guy, according to his own testimony. He brings in that text message thread about he's all about Jesus and things. Well, Jesus doesn't treat disabled veterans like this and leave shoddy work behind. And if he's worried about Facebook and this being on YouTube, I could do an anti-advertisement right now.
Just look at that face. That's the face of someone who has never experienced a win in her entire life. And I guess I should go ahead and point out that her entire argument is that he is essentially a shitty contractor who cuts corners to get things done, but then she offers him a chance to make it right by coming back to fix his mess.
We are keeping it cordial, Miss Quiriconi.
I'm trying to.
Okay, well, let's just try a little bit harder, ma'am. I understand this can be very frustrating and it can lead to heightened emotions, but we're not here to.
He has a guarantee of labor for a year.
Okay,
To say that it's unusual circumstances. He can't get away with that because of where he chose to put the pipes and the bad way he fixed the floor. And then there's the matter of the outside hose bib thing. There was a perfectly good one in place, but he had to change it. I don't know if it's because code has changed, but if code has changed regarding the things that are supposed to go around the pipes in the floor, I don't know about that, nor does the city, because that is code. And if there were a plumber supervisor on site, as is supposed to be required, they probably would have caught the errors. And we wouldn't be here today.
so Miss Quiriconi, you're telling me that you looked into his licensure and all of this, his status after the fact instead of before when you hired him?
That is correct, Your Honor, because I trusted him, because he said he was a good Christian man and he was all for helping people, especially disabled veterans.
All right, ma'am. So I see that information. I see everything you've submitted. I see the heritage. I will ask you really quickly though. So I'm looking at heritage. I see the first page. It doesn't say page 1 or anything. I just see the first page. Then all of a sudden I see a second page that says page 3, which is interesting because I don't see page 1 or page 2. And then all of a sudden I see a typed out summation of your costs, but I don't see anything that Heritage actually submitted for how much it would cost to remediate the issues you believe are at fault.
Your Honor, the page we're referring to that has numbers 1 through 9 on it, I see $4,983.08.
Can you please hold up that page, please? I'm sorry. Could you move back a little bit more? I don't see that. Maybe I'm missing it. Let me look again. That might be my fault. Let me go ahead and. Do you say it says 1 through 9?
Down here in the middle of the page, right there.
Yes, thank you. I'm just trying to find that page in the midst of all of these exhibits. So I'm just trying to make sure that I have everything. Right, well, that's interesting. I don't have that page. Unless you have a two-sided piece of paper. Nope, no two-sided piece of paper. Okay. I don't have that, Miss Quiriconi.
Does Mr. Guadron have it?
Do you have that, Mr. Guadron?
I actually had to leave for a work trip and I left my packet at home. I saw most of them, but
Okay.
I'm sorry I don't have them. I read through the heritage. Let me point out there it's heritage construction and they don't hold a plumbing license like I do.
Sir.
Slow down there, guy, because I looked up your license and she's actually right about you in that regard. You don't hold a full plumbing license. You hold a trainee license. Now, you do have 6,000 hours verified of plumbing work towards your journeyman's license, but you don't have that license yet, and lying about it doesn't make you look good.
I'm just going to stop you for a second. I just haven't sworn you in yet. So before you talk, let me just make sure Miss Quiriconi's done. All right, Ms. Quiriconi, I don't see that piece of paper. We can't confirm this with Mr. Guadron. I find myself to be sufficiently organized to not lose paperwork, so I will look again later to see if I can find it, but I have looked through all this documentation twice and I don't see it. So
And I think I know the paper that you were referring to now that just showed the grand total of areas of my kitchen.
thank you. My
Is that what it is? What that just showed the surface areas and things?
Mr. Clerk, Ms. Quiriconi, if you could just hold up for a second. Thank you. Clerk is going to. Okay, so now I have another copy. I have 2 copies of what you submitted. So now I'm actually able to double check everything that you've submitted. Is that also from Ms. Quiriconi? Is it too? Thank you. So it is not in this packet. Oh, okay. So it was a 2-sided page, so it just got missed. Ms. Quiriconi, I have found it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So let me go ahead and thank you.
Yeah, a really bad anxiety attack there.
No, I'm not blaming you for anything. I just had a piece of paper you provided. 1 page that's double-sided, and I think when it was scanned into me, the other side wasn't, but thankfully my clerk has found it. Okay, so the grand total based on this: detach and reset cabinetry, wood butcher block, detach and reset, countertop backsplashes, caulk, installation labor, solid wood, detach and reset sink, tile floor covering. Ma'am, I thought you said that you had issues with little rings around pipes and baseboards.
That's part of the plumbing. That's part of the plumber's estimate, and we do not have the plumber's estimate yet because I have not gotten the actual plumbing estimate.
Oh, so putting in a hard rock maple solid wood butcher block pattern countertop has to do with plumbing. I just want to make sure because I need to make sure.
Okay, the plumbing is under the sink to replace the floor tiles that were not replaced when the repair job was done.
Okay.
They have to remove the cabinets. Thankfully, they're all IKEA. They don't weigh very much. It detaches pretty easily. It goes back in pretty easily. So they'll be able to take that out really quick and then remediate the thing on the plumbing. Replace the tiles, which are right here. They're 18 by 37, 18 and a half by 37. Big tiles. So, and I've had them, so I don't know why the floor wasn't fixed properly instead of just shoving a little thing in there with. Anyway, I have the baseboards to install. I had everything, and it wasn't done properly, Your Honor. And anyone can contract a plumber. Essentially, Affordable Plumbing is supposed to do that. But he used his trainee status to fraudulently do business with me.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Quiriconi. Do you have anything additional?
Yeah, I believe LNI is coming after him to find him.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Again, that statement is true, as there is now a sanction against both him and his company. Now, these are the only 2 sanctions that he's ever had, and just because he cuts corners on permits doesn't mean that he didn't do the job properly. So let's hear what his side of the story is.
Mr. Guadron, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Close enough. I have a hard one with that. My dad's from El Salvador. It's
So what is your-
Guadron. You're supposed to roll the R, but I can't do it very well.
All right, sir.
Yeah,
you please
can I
raise
have
your-
some water? This is water. Can I drink it? It helps me. I'm sorry. I've been under a house 2 days working on some plumbing, and I'm having a hard time breathing. I breathe up dust and
All right,
stuff. You
my
know what I
thing
mean?
is, sir, that regardless of whether this is Zoom or not, this is actually a trial and, you know,
Yes,
your
yes, ma'am.
financial
I just asking.
responsibility is on the line. So
I'm
I
just
just would
asking if I
hope
can
that
drink the
you
water.
show just some respect to the courtroom setting.
Yes,
That's all
ma'am.
I
Yes,
ask.
ma'am.
Okay.
I
So,
apologize. I just wanted to explain it was water.
all right, sir. Could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth during this whole proceeding?
Yes.
Could you
Yes,
please
ma'am.
state your name and spell your last name for the record?
My name is Justin Guadron. Um, and you said what? I'm sorry.
Can you spell your last name for the record, please?
Guadron.
All right, sir, please provide your testimony.
I took some notes like an hour before a court, and I have them. I'm going to look at my notebook here. So Miss Quiriconi, we met on Facebook around November 27th, 2023. She asked me to come out and inspect for a water leak. And we didn't do any work. There was no work that needed to be done. And she gave us a positive review on Facebook. And then she called us back for an estimate. And we gave her the estimate 4/4/24. And the job was paid 6/12/24. I want to give you a timeline from the time we met to present. That was for the repipe 4/4/24, and then she paid 6/12/24, and then we worked on her kitchen. It was the quote was 4/8/24. Closed out the same day 6/12/24. She added her laundry room after that. We did the whole job. It says 6/14/24, and it was paid 6/14/24. She went ahead and added a bunch of miscellaneous handyman stuff, floors, the trim, etc. The invoice was issued 6/19/24, paid 7/22/24. Do you want amounts? Because I wrote down the amounts for these jobs, and I'm gonna go to the next page.
Sir, I guess I'm a little bit confused why these amounts would be relevant. I guess what's happening
Well, I was
is,
just explaining we had a stream of work, and then like months later, she came at us with accusations, and she was confronting us with all the stuff that she said I didn't do. I am a licensed plumbing contractor. I have over 6,000 hours, and I've worked for multiple companies, and my business is in more legitimate standards to object against her heritage construction. That's heritage construction. And then in their estimate, they only have 2 hours of plumbing that they put out there. So obviously there's not a whole lot wrong with plumbing in there. And in my contract, it says that we're not responsible for unforeseen circumstances in the event something goes outside of scope of work. So her complaints, in my opinion, is called an unforeseen circumstance, and I object to her entire thing. Since this court case, I've seen online that she's been in multiple cases with a bunch of people,
I'm sorry,
suing
sir,
a bunch of.
please. I don't want to hear any references to any other
Well, I'm
cases.
just
We're just
explaining
here to
like
talk about this today,
I
sir.
gotcha, I gotcha. Well, anyways, in my opinion, in my exhibits that I gave you, I sent Zach to fix the problem in her hole, and the garbage that she has in her driveway, we offered multiple times to help her remove it. I even offered her a trailer, and she's making some false allegations, false accusations, and I'm pinpointing. She said that there was no baseboard trim in her kitchen. Well, in that opening case today, I showed the baseboard in the background on my video so you could see the baseboard that ran around the floor of her kitchen. As far as all of her objections against my plumbing company, she has no proof, just her word. No, she needs like multiple estimates from plumbing contractors. You know what I mean? Or like you said, from labor and industries. Her whole case is bogus. I object.
All
That,
right.
that's
So you have a guarantee of labor for 1 year. You say that unforeseen circumstances are outside the scope of this labor for 1 year. Do you agree that there needs to be some kind of ring around the pipes?
We siliconed those and we put succussions on them and we secured the pipes. Her drain had an S trap going down the middle of her cabinet. She was putting a brand new kitchen in, and we didn't want to crowd her kitchen cabinet with pipes, so we moved it to the left and we secured those holes. And then we went down below her crawl space and we foamed the holes with foam. So no rodents, no bugs, no water. And if she does have a water leak, there's wood under there. It will get damaged anyways. That's a faulty complaint. I don't agree with her testimony. It's bogus.
I actually looked this up and he's right. The fittings she's talking about are optional, as the regulations actually state that the pipes must have casings around them and secured via some method, including foam. Not to mention, the floor she's talking about is a false floor, and the real floor is beneath it and is called a subfloor. So if there were any fittings or foam to be applied, it would be underneath her current floor.
Okay, the key to her home. Did you return the key to her home?
On this date, I wrote it down. We replaced her locks. 9/10/22. She paid 10/10/24. We ended up replacing the locks to her house and then the locks to the garage because apparently the cops broke into her house. Bunch of drama hit,
Sure.
and she got her keys. I don't know.
Well, her contention is that she replaced her lock so that you and your workers could not get in, and this was done. It says 3/19/25. I don't know if that's the day that it was actually done, the key plus locksmiths. Did you keep a set of keys from her house or something?
No, we just gave her keys, and then she paid the bill and went on our merry way. I am the owner. My employee gave her the keys. She paid the bill. Nobody's trying to defraud her whatsoever.
What day did she pay the bill?
The invoice was paid for the locks on the garage 12/12/24, for the door locks to the house 10/10/24.
And 10/24. And you said that you installed them on 9/10?
The door locks to the house 9/10/22 or 24, excuse me, that's
24.
a typo in my writing. And the door locks to the garage 9/19/24.
So 9/10 and 9/19 for the shop. It looks like that would be the outside shop and then residential. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you change the hose bib, sir?
She was replacing her galvanized plumbing, and the plumbing was up in the wall behind her cabinet. We would have had to cut the whole wall out to do that, to put it in the same exact spot. So we rerouted the hose bib to go into the crawl space to connect to the plumbing in the crawl space. And that's standard practice when we're doing a repipe, is to not reroute it through walls, to actually go into the crawl space. And that's how that one went down. Unless she wanted to keep the old galvanized hose bib, but she never mentioned that.
Let me just check this outline of pricing again, so that way if I have any other, okay, so let's see, she's asking for permit for plumbing. Were you supposed to obtain the permit for plumbing? Is that something that you had agreed upon in your contract?
We agreed outside of the contract that if we wanted to, we were going to add that, but no, it wasn't in the contract. You can read the contract. I don't mind getting a permit. She never brought that up in her text messaging or anything in her accusations. She's not shedding light on that with you. So the only thing we have is her word and her testimony on that. But I apologize. I've been going through a divorce and custody stuff and my own personal life. That one slipped my mind there. It's a
Permitting for
46.
plumbing per house?
Not for all of it, because I mean I'm an honest John here. Her PRV valve and her the water heater area, that was all pre-existing stuff, and it was lower than a certain amount, but for the water part, yeah, you probably should have got a permit. I agree. Um, just running water lines to the house.
Are you fucking kidding me? If I was a potential client and I heard you say that you don't need a plumber's permit because you were just running water lines through the house, I'd immediately look for some galvanized pipe to beat some sense into you, and then I'd pick a different contractor.
And Miss Quiriconi, you paid $46, so you did get a permit for the plumbing.
I did before I could get it inspected. I had to get the permit.
Okay, so Mr. Guadron, would you agree that there should have been the permit for $46?
Yeah.
Okay. $46.80. That was the permit. Okay.
Right.
There's the key thing.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Guadron? I mean, I think you answered everything that I had, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Quiriconi, go ahead with any final comments that you may have post Mr. Guadron's testimony.
Yes. I have a whole lot of questions that are unanswered. For one thing, Mr. Guadron cannot even say when he did the plumbing. I don't know that he keeps any kind of records on when he does things, how much labor he puts into them. Your Honor, my house is really small. There are no more than 10 feet from my kitchen sink to the bathroom where he says he had to do things. He didn't have to buy any supplies, any PEX pipe or anything like that. And in fact, everything that was extra, he got to take with him. Nails, PEX pipe, fittings, all kinds of things like that. He accepted gifts, as did his one employee, although he refers to having like seems to want me to believe he has a whole bunch of them. So I don't even know how many employees he has.
Quiriconi, the amount of employees and the employees are neither here nor there. Please just stick to the matter at hand.
All right. So we have that I acquired that he took the quote on April 8th. You have my down payments. You have that I have been, that I've paid for everything. You have a picture of the incorrectly installed pipe. You understand that they're supposed to have the things around them according to code, although I cannot show you a failed inspection permit thing. I guess you either pass and you get the thing or you don't. I've showed you the exterior spigot that was existing there that he simply could have attached water to. Instead, he put 2 new holes into the side of my house and repaired the one in a really funky way and then left the old one, which is people are going to be confused by when I sell my house. It's unfortunate I don't have any pictures of him on the job site because his axillary area was showing all the time. He claims in his own testimony that plugging the holes is sufficient. But I had these tiles right here to replace it. And if they'd remediated the problem at the time, they might have noticed the little metal things around the pipes missing that are causing the issue. And they are not plugged at the top, Your Honor. They might be plugged below, but they're not plugged at the top. And there's no sealing around the edges of the wall. And if water gets out there, it is definitely going to ruin the sheetrock, which is unpainted. He claims he's done absolutely nothing wrong, but he's working without a complete plumbing certificate, without the supervision that he's required to have by L&I.
Can you prove that?
Don't say stupid shit like that, because yes, it's a matter of public record that both you and your company receive violations for improper supervisions while engaged in the trade of plumbing. In fact, as of 2 days ago, both your plumbing and construction permits were suspended due to failing to meet state requirements. So yeah, there is proof.
Okay, can you just talk to me, Mr. Guadron, please? Ms.
I,
Quiriconi, do you have anything additional to add?
I
This is just repetition of what you've already said.
A fully licensed plumber had been on site supervising Justin, that the job would have cleared the inspector, as his supervisor would have noticed these very obvious issues.
Judge, in this case, I am the supervisor. I own the
Ms.
company.
Quiriconi, we're not accusing people. We're just trying to get to the bottom of the matter. So no more. Thank you. We're not talking about if he's a supervisor. We're not talking about his status. We're talking about this job, about it not passing inspection, and what needs to be done to remediate. Mr. Guadron, I do have to ask you, if you did switch out the galvanized plumbing or the hose bib, why did you leave that one on the side of the house like that?
We didn't want to damage her siding, and we have been in the plumbing world. You abandon the galvanized plumbing in the walls so you don't cause damage to outside siding, creating water leaks, creating more damage. That Hardybacker siding right there would have been damaged in the process, and we left it there, so we didn't. That would have been a change order to replace the siding.
Was there any discussion with Ms. Quiriconi about switching out the bib? Or was that just you taking it upon
I
yourself?
broke it down. I broke it down piece by piece. I'm pretty detailed person. I spoke to her just like I'm speaking to you and explained everything before we did anything, and she accepted it in person on the job site. I apologize that she's not happy, but I broke it down word for word what we were doing before we did it, because she's stressed out now waiting in her own house. She gets stressful and irate, so of course we're going to try to do it her way. I did the best we could under the circumstances, and it's an unfortunate matter, but it brought us to court.
All right. All right. I think I'm done with everything. I have all the information I need. So thank you to both parties for your testimonies. I'm going to go ahead and impart my judgment. So there's been a lot of information that has been provided. I think what it comes down to mostly is the heritage amount that Ms. Quiriconi provided in regards to remediation for work she thinks needs to be done to fix items that did not pass inspection. There was no testimony that was just aesthetically not pleasing, or she just didn't like your work. It was specifically testified as to the fact that these little rings around the pipes weren't put in correctly, and you didn't put in baseboards, and because of that, it wouldn't pass inspection. And so that's why she got an additional quote from Heritage to see what it would cost to fix this. Now, I think the main issue I have is this something that truly did not pass inspection, or is this something that Ms. Quiriconi did some research on? It's not meeting her standards of what she would have liked. That is why I kept asking, where is this inspection report? Where is this showing that it failed because of the plumbing? That repipe needs to be done. Ms. Quiriconi testified that she was able to verbally receive some information, but I find it odd that you were not able to receive anything memorialized in paperwork. I feel that when you fail an inspection, you usually get paperwork that outlines why you failed the inspection. feel if someone's able to verbally tell you, they would have been able to put it in paperwork as well. If we are assuming that maybe these rings around the pipes were what would have failed inspection, I'm not knowledgeable about plumbing. That is not my area of expertise, Mr. Guadron. You seem to be an individual that has had 600 hours, as you have stated, or 6,000. I apologize if I skipped a zero. And you said that you had accommodated for the lack of these rings by foam, by silicone sealant, by doing something as such. So I'm not able to say if that is not sufficient to alleviate this lack of rings around the piping. I do not know. I also do not have an inspection report stating that it fails because of this. Because of that, I'm not able to justify Heritage's breakdown of what needs to be done. If we do go ahead and state that there is an issue with pipes and the rings, I do find it interesting, per Mr. Guadron's testimony, that in the Heritage breakdown of costs, there's only a plumber per hour. And it says here that it would be 8 hours repair under sink and cabinets, but I'm not quite sure what that entails. I also do not think that replacing a butcher block,
It's not replacing,
detaching and resetting
putting it
sink,
back.
moving a refrigerator. I think that if you're stating that there are rings that are issues with the plumbing under your sink, that all these additional items need to be done. And so I'm a little confused. I would need a report to prove that that wasn't done sufficiently. I didn't hear any testimony that it's just not to her liking.
And that's where she really messed up. Because if she would have just learned to control herself and focused on getting what needed to be fixed, instead of trying to get an entire remodel done while acting like a toddler who hasn't eaten her daily glue yet, she might have actually put herself in a position to win this case.
So based on that, I cannot award the Heritage amount. I don't have something to actually base it on other than testimony that one thing was insufficient, would fail an inspection report. You stating that there was something that was done to actually pass inspection. I don't have a report. Otherwise, maybe I could award amounts. Otherwise, I cannot. Then we have the locksmith situation. I'm a little confused about the keys. I have here stating at 3/19/25 keys were that the home was rekeyed, the shop was rekeyed, and the residence was rekeyed. I have statements from Mr. Guadron saying that on 9/10/24 and 9/19/24, the residence and then the shop were rekeyed. But then it's interesting that on 10/10/24, which is almost a month later, Ms. Quiriconi pays. I'm assuming that if an individual didn't receive their keys, they wouldn't pay for that, or they wouldn't hold out on that. So, Mr. Guadron, can you hear me?
Yep, I'm listening.
So, Ms. Quiriconi, I don't know why you're making all these statements. I'm showing that I still have audio. Mr. Clerk, do I have audio? Mr. Guadron hears me. So I'm sorry, Ms. Quiriconi, if you maybe push something, there is full audio. There is nothing wrong on my end.
I
I'm
can hear
sorry,
you.
there is nothing I can do. I'm showing that I am broadcasting audio fine. I don't know what's going on, Ms.
They can hear me.
Quiriconi. I don't know if there's an issue happening. Don't know if you can't hear me. I'm not accepting video footage. Okay, I will continue on then. Based on that information,
Oh, she's having a meltdown. Oh,
Mr. Guadron, let's not comment on that. There maybe are issues that we're unaware of. We do have to be
sorry.
for that. It's okay.
Sorry.
Ms. Quiriconi, do you need a second to? All right, I'm going to continue with my judgment. I do not know what I can do, Ms. Quiriconi. I am audio broadcasting just fine. I will ask again, Mr. Clerk, am I showing that everything's fine? I am getting confirmation that it is broadcasting fine. Mr. Guadron, do you still hear me?
Yep, I hear you just fine.
I'm not quite sure if you're not hearing Miss Quiriconi or something is happening on your end that you might need medical assistance.
Both can be true at the same time, Judge. She may not be able to hear you over the internal screaming going on inside her head, and a 5150 may be long overdue with this one.
Okay, well, I'm not quite sure what that answer is, so I will just continue. So based on that information, I'm not able to award the rekeying costs. There's just different testimony going back and forth, and I do find it interesting that if you were rekeyed 10/10/24 and well, you were rekeyed in September and then paid in October of 24, but then rekeyed in March of 2025, that is interesting that there'd be such a difference in time before you decided that it had been long enough to rekey your house. I just don't think that that timeline lines up to Mr. Guadron retaining a key and you being worried for your safety. Ms. Quiriconi, I must go on. If your computer is having technical difficulties, there's nothing I can do. Mr. Clerk, is there anything that's showing in the system that is an issue? No? Her audio is working as well? Or our audio? Okay, I will continue on. I will, however, award Ms. Quiriconi the amount of $46.80. That is the permitting cost. Mr. Guadron, there was discussion with you that that should have been done. That might have been an oversight. I think that that needed to be done to be able to continue with the plumbing. So I will award that $46.80 to Ms. Quiriconi. I apologize. So I'm going to go ahead and give her that amount and her requested amount. I would ask Ms. Quiriconi about the skip trace delivery try. Was it difficult to find you, Mr. Guadron? Or what was the issue
Well,
with service?
right now I'm in Newport working. I travel. I between Springfield, Newport, Washington. I get around, so I not always home.
All right, so based on that information, I'm going to go ahead and award the principal amount of $46.80. That is for the permitting cost. I believe that is outlined by Ms. Quiriconi in her.
How do I pay her?
So you would need to find her address, which I think is available on the small claims form that you received. And you could write her a
Okay.
check and mail it by certified mail. I think that would be able to reach her. But you have to make sure that you have to ensure that she receives it unless you want to call her and talk to her that way and transfer her money that way. So
I'll certify mail it.
okay, $46.80 is what she will be awarded for the plumbing. Small claims filing fee, first summons mail cost. She will be awarded the $35 just in the filing fee for this matter. And then there is, I don't know what skip trace delivery try is for $160. I will go ahead and award her just her service fee. It looks like she had $10 and $9. I will award her the $19.78 for the service that she has outlined here. Delivery try cost.
I'm getting my notebook and paper so I can write this down.
That's fine, sir. And I will award her a 9% post-judgment interest rate. It's okay. You will be receiving this judgment in the mail, but I will go ahead and tell you the total that you owe her right now, okay?
Yeah.
46.8 plus 35 plus 19.78. It would be $101.58, sir.
And I have a question.
Yes,
This
sir.
is outside the matter because she's suing my business and not me. I went through a bad divorce and personal life. I'm actually shutting down my business and have a job, and my stuff is kind of been liquidated. What happens if I don't pay? Because I'm a single dad with a kid and a bunch of stuff. I mean, I'll pay it out of my own pocket, but it won't be able to come out of my business. It's been
You can
liquidated.
pay, your name and the business are listed, so you're able to pay. Ms. Quiriconi, if you could please refrain from
And I
any.
have a question though. I have a question though, because of
Yes.
this situation, the way this has arisen. Has she tampered with her work or anything? Is there a way for this to be void? Because I don't trust her to not tamper with her work. You know what I mean? The way things.
Well, okay. I'm not offering any legal advice. All I can say is that now this issue has been resolved, so she's precluded from filing suit once again on the same matters.
Okay. All right, I'll get it paid, and I just.
Ms.
How do I
Quiriconi.
call?
Okay,
Go ahead.
so I think at the top of the small claims form, sir, there is her address as well. Let me go ahead and just pull that up. Oh, did Ms. Quiriconi just leave?
No, Karen Quiriconi left this dimensional reality a long time ago. But yeah, she just left the call because that's what you do when you're a cave Karen who's not getting her way. Now, as far as the outcome of the trial, I do agree with the conclusion of the judge. If she would have just focused on the items that needed to be completed for the inspection and provided some sort of documentation to support her claims of needing this work, then the judge would have probably ruled in her favor. Now, there are a few lessons to be learned all around the table. First, if you need remodeling work done, make sure you do your due diligence when choosing a contractor and do it before you hand over any money or agree to any terms. Document everything and take lots of pictures just in case you end up in this very situation. And as far as the other side goes, maybe do a little bit of background search on your clients to make sure you're not taking on a client who has a history of litigation with everyone who comes into contact with her. And when I say everyone, I do mean everyone, as our next video is going to cover her frivolous lawsuit where she sues her neighbors who have a protection order out against her that she continues to violate. And if you thought today's video was wild, then you definitely don't want to miss the next one. Here's a short clip.
These signs also include, I believe Dawn Hightower is the worst Longview, Washington resident now living. Find the self-professed person with antisocial personality disorder at 318th Avenue.
There may have been one like that, yeah.
So if you liked the video, then hit the like button. If you disliked it, then hit the dislike. But don't forget to leave a comment below and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss any of my content. I'm Team Skeptic, and I'm out.